Hello, everyone, and welcome to Spirituality Without the Bullshit podcast. I am your host, Natty Beatts, and today I'm going to be talking about the darker side of light work with one of my amazing mentors, Wolfgang, and I'm so fucking excited to have him on the show. Wolfgang, will you please introduce yourself?
Well, I'm Wolfgang, and next year I turn 70 years old, and I started my spiritual path when I regularly meditating at the age of 24. And I studied fine art and philosophy. I lived 6 years in India and 6 years in a spiritual community in America. Um, so I've worked full time here now, helping clients. My specialty is I help them get in touch with their high self. I ask the questions, and they get the insights, themselves in the healing too. So I like to empower them. I'm
Yeah,
not doing the work for them. I'm not like a psychic reader for people.
this is how
You
you
know,
met
I
me.
Yeah, so yeah, as an empath, I feel people's energies and then I give them feedback, you know, how to optimize it, how to get there fast. And, I'm also a battery, providing life force, so they can get to places where they haven't been before, So if they have been here, I can help them to get there or, even higher.
Yeah.
Um, so we just make sure they don't burn out.
Yeah, right. As someone who has had the pleasure of using your energy battery several times when I'm channeling, I can I can vouch for its power. It definitely got me from somewhere in the mid-range to pretty much blasting through the sky. And I'm also going to say as well that the him introducing his sessions there does not even begin to cover the absolute fucking magic that takes place within these sessions. I mean, I discovered Wolfgang a few months after my insane spiritual awakening, and this guy opened my eyes up to some pretty crazy shit. A lot of that stuff we are going to be talking about today. I think that is stuff that is not talked about enough within the spiritual community, and especially not without the bullshit. So everything on this show is taking the weird stuff, taking the out there stuff, and talking about it just in normal language for normal people so that it's more accessible and we don't have any wafty wafty crap. Yeah.
Mhm.
So, Wolfgang, so you've obviously been doing this work a really, really long time. I can't believe you're nearly 70. That's absolutely crazy. You do not look it at all. Another testament for doing energy work, right? You just look young forever, live forever.
Yeah, I push about as much weight as my son.
There you go.
I mean, in the gym,
Yep.
is I use a lot of chi, and I take baths, that is keep myself pure.
Yep.
I
Yep.
mean, I'm not fanatically eating as such, I mean, I'm a vegetarian,
But
and so on.
energy does great things for you, right? I mean, just using these energies all the time, keeping yourself high vibration for all your clients. And you've obviously been doing this work for how long have you been doing this work for now?
Yeah, I mean, I started fully dedicated when I was 27.
That's
This
a
is
whole
40 years
lifetime.
ago. Yeah, I gave up my career. you know.
Yeah. So give us, I would love to, I know you have an amazing, like 2 hour video on your channel that goes through your whole spiritual journey. I massively recommend anyone to go and check that out after this as well. It's a Tools for Ascension YouTube channel, because your story is absolutely amazing. But if you could give us, so that we can get an idea of who you are, a little kind of brief history of your kind of spiritual journey from 40 years ago up to the work that you do today.
Okay, so well, in my time, transcendental meditation was a new thing, and once this girl said, "Oh God, you gotta meditate," it is so cool. And so then a year later, I was on the flea market, look at a book, how to meditate, and well, yeah, this image popped up, and I got the book, and then I went into a forest and did a mantra there, and that was in fall, and so I was completely gone. I mean, there was no awareness of time, and I hear, in the dry leaves, a noise. And somehow my mental processes were from absolute nothing to nobody could have snuck up there. There are leaves all around me. How is this possible? And the next thing, I'm standing like this, in a perfect low stance, from a
Yeah. So those
sitting, cross-legged sitting position.
people that are listening, he's in a like a fighting stance.
Yeah, right. Perfect form. you know. I don't even know how I got out of this thing. I just jumped up, and the perfection of this just surprised me, more, then I was kind of gone. And so I was, hooked. I knew there was something there. And then there was an ashram there. I started chanting Om Namah Shivaya, and oh my God, I cranked this up on my stereo system. There was one recording that I really loved, and I blasted this, and this is the great breathing exercise. And so, Shiva is like the Lord of transformation, is an aspect of God.
Yeah.
And oh my God, my life changed so much. It was like in the movies. I was studying fine art, academy level fine art, Bohemia. So this was, very interesting people.
Yeah.
But it just got way more far out. People look at my photo galleries, they may get an idea. And, I also traveled, around the world. So, God, yeah, and ultimately, after finished my exams, I went to Sri Lanka with a former monk who was preaching Christianity at the time. So we went to Sri Lanka, and I lived there till I got kicked out, and I went to India, and I decided, to become enlightened.
Just
I
decided one
just,
day.
I just decided, that's it. I'm not going to go back. I'm not going to be I really considered this, I'm going to be a
Yeah.
high school teacher. I would have been a professor of fine art,
Thank God that you didn't.
Well, I don't know. I would have touched, but I wouldn't have been, the person that I'm now. That
Yeah.
is, I would have been much more low level. I would have inspired a lot of people,
Yeah.
for sure, but not on that level here.
Not on the level that, yeah, not on the level you work at now.
No, no, no. And so there was also the life of a traveler. That is a good thing. Maybe you work in Alaska, on the pipelines, for half a year, and then, live a year in the third world, somewhere in Thailand, or 2 years. I saw many people like that.
Yeah.
So, but I decided to become enlightened, and took it from there.
And how was your process of enlightenment for all those listening who decide that they also want to become enlightened? I know you have quite a unique story. There's not many people that are able to go and travel and go through what you went through in this way, but so many people are going through kind of awakening in different levels at the moment. And I think it's really helpful for people to understand real stories about real people getting to where they got to with their spiritual work.
All right. Well, I would say for most people, for many people, either they wake up or it's through drugs. It's either spontaneous, or it has a little help from
Yeah.
a friend, right? And so, as a student, as a high school student, I definitely experimented with psychedelics. And also, read Huxley. I wasn't just partying my brains off. I was, keenly, observing what was happening, analyzing, playing around with it. And I saw halos. I saw, my girlfriend turning into a high self. She looked like a Madonna. I've had supernatural experiences,
Yeah.
all along, with and without drugs. And so I knew this was real. I was not a person of blind faith.
Yeah,
Um,
I feel that I've never believed in anything until I've experienced it, and that's no matter how much I experience things. Still, if someone tells me something that I haven't experienced it, I still don't fully believe until it comes through to me. I guess I'm a bit of a skeptic in that way, because a lot of this stuff until you've experienced it, I think it is quite hard to grasp the concept, to have a reference point for it.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, well, and then I mean, even this I studied Bhakti Yoga, so this is a devotion of the heart, and I had great experiences doing this. I basically learned, Indian scripture, Hindu scripture. I was initiated as a Brahmin. The whole 9 yards.
Yeah.
The outfit. Actually, I was sent, on certain missions, to major temples in India, like Jaipur and other places, to get certain documents. And the local Brahmanas, they always, wanted to check me out. Now here there is a white guy,
Yeah.
dressed in our stuff. I mean, this is like a Native American looking at white hippies,
Yeah. Yeah.
thinking they're so cool, and they're, oh God, they don't know how it is on the res, and so on. So that was probably similar. So they always, yeah, okay, why don't you sit over there, and just wait,
Brilliant.
And so, yeah, I mean, so I spent like, sometimes, half a day sitting next to like this guru, giving darshan in Hindu, in Hindi, having no clue what he's doing, So I'm just, doing my meditation and blissing out. And so then after, 2 days, they're like, okay, here are the papers, and, they invited me on the altars, I mean, any white person going on this would be killed normally.
Yeah.
So they're like showed respect, they figured out who I was, they wiped me out, these very perceptive, sensitive people.
I was going to say, I mean, it is when you bypass all of the outer, the exterior of what people look like and everything, people who are energy sensitive, they're able to see you for you. They're able to see your soul, your energy, and feel that shit straight away. I'm not surprised you got invited onto the altars.
Oh yeah, in India, I mean, there was a Rath Yatra, and I was photographing there, and then somebody was performing an arti there, like under the roof, and it was wonderful. I mean, it stopped like perfect on the clock. I mean, that was just blissful. And when I walked on the street, I mean, I was like all blissed out. People would just bow. I mean, people, and I walked, on those streets many times. They don't
Yeah.
bow, they're only bow. They're now, where you're at. They can see
Yeah.
this. I mean, I had people kiss my feet.
That would freak me out.
Yeah, if you never, but I mean, out of gratitude. I mean, there are people trying to dump karma or as a show, but there were people that were very, gracious. It changed their life.
Yeah.
And that was just like really ABC stuff. It was nothing what I'm doing nowadays.
Right, exactly. Well, that's exactly what we're going to be talking about today, is the stuff that you're doing now, because again, it's some of a lot more out there stuff. A lot of the healing modalities that I use now, I learned from you, the methods that you use, following your methods and having sessions with you, and then learning how to use them on my clients. And like I said, the amount of stuff that I've learned off you, that every time I have a session, something else comes through and I'm like, is that real? Fucking hell, is this real? Now we had well, all sorts, wizards and yetis and dragons and oh my goodness coming through. So I want to jump in and just talk a little bit about like the darker element of light work, because I think that there is this misconception in the spiritual industry, as there are many misconceptions out there, that being a light worker is all light and fluffy and you're just kind of sitting on your cloud doing your meditation and wearing your white clothes and it's all up here and very nice. A lot of people understand that there's like shadow work and you have to work through the shadow and the darkness, but what people don't talk about is things like the entities and the attachments and the psychic attack and all of that shit that we have to deal with, that if you're not protected from it, it can really kind of see you come undone a bit.
Yeah, right. You can get hit,
Yep.
This is really important. and let's just start with the down-to-earth stuff, and then we can go more and more, into the abstract, into the movie,
Sounds good. Sounds good.
realms, because probably, many of the professionals, they run into this. So first of all, I also, used to give massage, and my own style, 1.5 hours, just a few clients. But so, and you can pick up from people, bad energy, so fast, I mean, I once gave a massage to a massage therapist, and I mean, she was already, kind of yellow in the face. And when I touched her, immediately I had a headache. I should have just walked away. I should have just been rude. And she was, she stood me up anyhow one time. So she was rude anyhow. But, basically I was sick for a couple of days, and, some of that stuff, it took years to get out. She was giving 8 massages a day, didn't do any type of purification, And I mean, she was just full with it, so untouchable, so to say. I should have just left it alone, even blowing a conch on her and clearing her with my wand. I do, clear I clear the body of chi, before I even touch anybody. I also, cleared with conch and with a conch shell. And if
that's
people
your shell that you blow.
What that is, this is something like this here, and so I would just stand like about 2 feet in front of the person at their root chakra, then stand up, blowing this thing up to here. They had to have their eyes open so they wouldn't just fall off.
Blast the energy.
Chi just would come out, all the dark chi. You can make a small exorcism with this, I mean, like small critters goes from a flop house, they just leave right there.
Well, you've done that one on me before when we were doing a healing, and you had me in a past life, and there was like a big spider was stuck to my face, and you first of all, you were laughing at me. I remember, because we laugh a lot. Just to make a point, he's not being mean. We laugh a lot in sessions. You have to keep a light-hearted when we're doing this work, because it is quite heavy stuff. But he was laughing at me, and then he could feel the spider on his face, so he just got out of this shell out of nowhere, and that noise. So I had my eyes shut, deep in meditation in a past life, and I just suddenly hear, "Woo!" I opened my eyes to see the shell, but it was literally like getting a leaf blower, and I could feel the energy just blasting off, getting rid of it. So it's something that looks very comical, and I love the sound of it, but it really works. It packs a punch.
Oh yeah, I discovered this thing on a German mineral show. I was the vendor. This was in Tucson, the biggest German mineral show in the world. In a hall on a Saturday, with the whole school having their what's the exploration day. The place was packed. And then there was this, nutcase that blew the conch shell, and I could feel how the ethers were clearing. I was just, wow. I mean, I knew this from a temple, I mean, before every arti, and afterwards, you blow the conch shell. I mean, I knew that, but that was temple. But here in that chaos, and I go, wow. I asked him to do it again, and it worked, and so that's why I adapted. I always observe, and then what is most powerful, I use. So the Jewish horn, it has the same effect, sounds very much the same. Gongs work similar, but it's just a trip, to have a gong there.
I think sound is so powerful with healing, with clearing, especially like you said, like the gongs. I've had a gong bath before, and oh my god, when you can just feel the vibrations. But I love anything that blasts through it. The conch is so quick as well. It's almost just like it cuts straight through all the crap going on you.
Now the thing is, now when we go to side effects, so a lot of chi comes out. So imagine there is a dark cloud coming out. Now this can attach to you. Through static.
So this is once you've done the conch shell on someone else, right?
I can see it. Sometimes I have to duck away and step away, and then ask for heavenly vacuum cleaners to pull it up. And once it happens, what a trip that was. So I had a group of about 15 people, and then somebody, a completely new person comes in late, and I'm okay, let's let him in. So I blow the conch on him. As soon as I blow the conch, an entity jumps jumps into a new person. I mean, she has never been there, onto the chest. She jumps off a chair, rolls on the floor, grabbing her chest. Ah!
Oh, for fuck's sake.
Uh,
See, that's
everybody like, whoa.
see, things like that, like people listening who are fairly new to this spiritual work may hear a story like that and be like, what the actual fuck? But this shit happens. Like, this is what you have to, part of what you have to deal with being an energy healer, being a psychic. Things can jump out of other people and jump into you.
I mean, this was rare,
Yeah.
This has happened,
Yeah, it does. But I think it's important that people are aware of that, and that they are aware of what they can do to protect themselves and what they can do to clear it again. It's not, none of the things we're going to talk about today, I want to make it clear that none of this is to scare anyone. As you can hear it, we're both laughing about it. Like, we stay very much working with that inner child. All of this stuff is pretty hilarious. So try not to get too worried or bogged down with it. But it's just really important to be aware that these things can happen, that these things are out there, and what you can do about them, pretty much. So what did you do?
Well, first of all, I invoked, my protection, so I have certain deities I worshiped for years, that are very fierce. In a dream, I can, when I know somebody messes with me, I can call it in the dream,
Yeah.
So I called that one in, and I also, blew the conch on the lady and just blasted this entity. I mean, that entity left very fast. I mean, when I cheer up and go into combat mode,
Yeah.
That's pretty scary. I mean, I look very nice and sweet, but I have Mars conjunct my sun sign, so
Yeah.
it can get very scary. So,
especially if there's an entity fucking with you. Can I just ask, for those people, I'm very aware of, there's sometimes, when I first discovered spirituality and when I first went through my awakening, there was loads of like terminology that I just had no clue about. So can we just clarify for people what we're referring to when we talk about entities? What are some of the things that they include?
well, I mean, very common ghosts,
Mhm.
discarnate human beings that, well, didn't make it, didn't want to go into the light, maybe felt guilty, so-called sinners, or they were attached to their lovers or their family, and they thought they had to take care of the grandkids,
Yeah.
or they're, wanted to look after their factories, or they want revenge, maybe you killed them or some betrayed them, so those, they can attack, if you, let's say, with many clients first time, there are always problems. There's, always some cacamania going on with the internet, misunderstanding,
Yeah.
or just suddenly start feeling bad, finding all kinds of excuses. They're generally being manipulated, by beings that don't have their best in mind. So there
Yeah.
are ghosts. Then there are kind of dumber things like archons, they're kind of like rats, astral rats. Of course, they don't look like them. They have more like this octopus.
Okay.
Thing.
Yeah.
They attach to the sides of the head.
I've
So
come
when they
across
go
those before.
yeah, some of them gets placed, some of them, they're, as a freelance predator, say wrong place, wrong time.
Yeah.
Yeah, those, sometimes little gremlins or other beings, depending. And well, then when you go up the chain, that's so pretty much, all the light workers, they get harassed by the reptilians, I would say.
Yeah.
This is part of spiritual warfare. Those that are incarnated here, the dark side, knows exactly who they are. And I mean, not just through technology, also through psychic perception. There's technology there, and they are trained in how to do that. And then they start harassing and trying to cut you down, from the very beginning. Whether it's scary dreams or getting abused sexually, or other things. The shamanic wounding, so to say, gets provided by the dark side. And then those beings, they are on the higher planes, and those you don't fight yourself, those you call on your big brothers, so to say, Source, Jesus, Archangel Michael, the warriors, Kali, Goddess Durga, Mother Mary.
The big guns, bringing in the big guns for those guys.
Yeah, Lord Shiva, Lord Ganesh, they wipe the floor with them.
Yeah.
But you gotta ask them. They can't just, go and scuttle along with you all the time. You gotta ask, you ultimately, you gotta learn how to fight him yourself. If you got enough chi and your pedigree, if those guys are from the 5th dimension and you go to your 7th dimension level, you can kick their butts.
Yeah. So it's obviously good and important. One of the things you said, I'm just going to pick up on some of the things because you said a lot in that. I want to go back to, so you said about like ghost attachments and entities and stuff, they can really affect someone. I think that a lot of people don't understand a lot of the effect that, say, an attachment or something can have. So for example, say you've got a ghost attachment from a past life in your solar plexus, and it's literally affecting your appetite, or it's making you crave certain things. It might make you be, your reason for eating sugar all the time could be because you have a ghost attachment from a past life that ate a lot of sugar, or something that's blocking your ability to absorb nutrients, or very, very physical things that happen in our physical reality that can't be approached by taking medicine or seeing a doctor. It might kind of cover it up, but the root cause of it is an entity attachment, which is why so many people stay sick, why so many people struggle to find the answers of, I don't know, mental health problems, physical health problems, because they're kind of looking in the wrong place. Because not many people think to go, oh, I'm just going to close my eyes and see if I have an entity attachment. I know a lot more people are kind of waking up to this sort of work now, but it can mean that a whole nation ends up staying sick because it's just riddled with crap, energetic crap stuck to them.
Absolutely. I mean, it happens to myself too, so I can completely attest to this. So once in traffic, around the hospital, I really got angry, screaming. I screamed in my car, I mean, not at anybody, just
I scream in my car a lot.
Yeah, right. So I mean, I really was angry, and then suddenly, after that, I had knee pains. It took me about a week, to get to that. Oh, I might have a ghost, and it was a ghost that was old and had bum knee, and so some of those miraculous healings, it's just the ghost just leaves the body, and the physical body adjusts really fast. The physical body is held in space by your astral body, and your astral body works in a way like a magnet holds this magnetic field that the ion filings go into. So the subtle body kind of holds the space, and draws the atoms kind of into the proper alignment.
So cool.
So, yeah.
I love that. I learn so much every time I speak to you. You just have a really good way of explaining everything that makes it make sense. And I love also that people who are listening to this, who are light workers, who are kind of more connected with themselves or whatever, even though some of the stuff that you were talking about is quite far out or whatever, there will be, just like there was within me, a deep recognition and a deep yes feeling that, okay, yeah, this is right, this is real, and maybe I have some of those things as well.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even argue with people about this. I don't want to waste my time on this. It's like, you will know by the results. You can feel it. Most
Yeah,
people feel when the ghosts are leaving. I mean, they can feel it, and the results stay.
yeah,
It doesn't slip back.
permanent. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the results are permanent. So besides physical symptoms, there are also psychological issues. For instance, if you have an old lover following you from a past lifetime. I mean, so let's say there is this man following you around, madly in love with you, really jealous. What do you think? How he feels about when you have no boyfriend? you
Gonna
know
make sure I push them away.
yeah, he's going to try to manipulate your thoughts telepathically, and you may even think these are your thoughts, you
Yeah,
know, and or the thoughts of your boyfriend, or his emotion or your emotion, or
yeah.
other people's or situation make you forget a date, make you say something blunderous, whatever it is, trying to screw it up.
And you really can't tell it. It really does feel like, as someone who's had a lot of entities and attachments removed over the last couple of years, it really does just feel like your thoughts, or your personality trait, or something that is a pattern that you can't fix or whatever. And you have this ghost attachment removed, and you're like, fuck, that was them. That's why I thought like that for all those years. And it literally goes. You don't need years of therapy, or do you know what I mean? I mean, this is so there might be things you need years of therapy for, but this is for this sort of stuff. It's amazing how quickly something can change, like bam, that you've wanted to get rid of your whole life, or it's worried you or plagued you your whole life, and it goes with the entity, it goes with the ghost, and doesn't come back again, because it's not you.
Yeah, I mean, even if it's a dear granny, that's trying to take care of you, very well meaning. First of all, it's granny with her old-fashioned ideas. She is not enlightened. Maybe she has a little bit more, aspect of reality because she's beyond time a little bit more, but it's still old granny. With her old-fashioned ideas. Second, she has to suck your life force. She has to kind of, supply herself with chi. So a lot of people are very, exhausted all the time. Even while having good diet, even while exercising, and some of them have a whole entourage of ghosts just sitting on them, sucking on them. Some
Yeah.
of them are hitchhikers. They're just, there's somebody with a lot of life,
Mm-hmm.
let's go there and feel good. And some of them are more karmic, enemies, lovers.
People you've killed in past lives, whoopsie doodle.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. I mean,
I think we've both had a few of them come up in sessions. I had talking about things kind of piggybacking and just jumping into. I've had this happen a fair bit doing the work that I do, but also out and about. I recently had one where it was in a session with you. I had that my face all bunched up at the side, and I was like, "Oh, there's a spirit in me that's face is all fat, and it's trying to get through." And it came through with the message that I picked it up in the supermarket, because I didn't put any energy protection on before I went to the supermarket. By the way, guys, supermarkets are massive containers for ghosts and entities and attachments, because the amount of people that go in and out of there, and all the food coming from different places, all the transportation, all of that, it just holds it. So wear your crystals when you go to supermarkets, call an Archangel Michael before you go in the door, and ask that nothing gets attached to you. But again, when you do this sort of work, when you're a light worker, when you've got a big old bright light in there, unfortunately things do just fucking jump on. And I think it's really important, as just everyone puts it into their self-care, of doing a little scan every now and again, seeing whether you've got any spirits that need to ascend, or seeing if you've got some attachments, some energy that doesn't belong to you. It should be a non-negotiable part of self-care, especially when you're doing any sort of spiritual work.
Ask your pendulum. This is very simple. Ask a pendulum, do a prayer that you get the truth, and then just ask the pendulum, is an entity attached to me or not?
That's good.
And
That's a good
that's
one.
one way of going in. I have a video on it, also how to release entities, just
Yeah.
to check, tools for ascension and ghosts, and you will find it.
What are some of the things that people could do to sort of protect themselves on a day, both on a daily basis, and people listening to this that also might be doing healing work, massage? What are a couple of easy things that they can do to protect their energy going in?
Well, so this massage, as I said, I like, to clear my clients, before with a conch, and then I clear them also with a wand. So I'm just swiping chi through them. Yeah, so let's say if you don't have a wand, you could use a crystal, like, a danbarite, or, a slight smoky, in anything with parallel
Selenite as
side.
well.
Selenite is fine, it's will do, it's very cheap, and,
It
quite
is.
packs quite a punch.
You can get a big old bit for cheap. That's why I like it, because you can get such a big wedge of it.
Yeah. Personally, I prefer, where's my tourmaline here? That is
Tourmaline, did you
here.
say?
Now that outperforms.
Wow.
A selenite like 1 to 3.
So those of you listening that can't see what we're seeing at the moment, he has got a big old wedge of tourmaline in his hand.
Yeah,
about the
this
size
would
of my
be about
face.
4 pounds, 5 pounds of tourmaline here.
Wow.
Yeah, so this really suck it out, out of you. And
so clearing your client before you do any work. And is there any sort of, I know you've done a lot of things like defense for psychic attack and stuff like that.
Okay, now next thing is, you probably want to have some kind of a hematite, some iron or magnetite, in your shoes, in your socks.
Okay.
Do you want to stay grounded like anything? If you're not grounded, you're not going to sewer anything that you pick up out. Even if you're a complete idiot, but if your feet are open, it's just going to just flow out. The dark chi, always sinks down. And if you're grounded, it just goes into the earth and sewers out. If you're not, if this is blocked, yeah, it's going to stay inside. And
I need to start doing that. I didn't know about the hematite in the socks. I'm going to start putting them in my socks.
Yeah, so for new clients, that I have, of course, this is all over the internet nowadays. I have a special, necklace, with hematite and other stuff on there, and I use obsidian. I have obsidian in my pan pockets, and there is this scrambler kyanite. Black kyanite is wonderful.
Yeah.
It's a scrambler. It protects you also from, let's say, ceremonial magic.
Okay.
It's quite helpful there. So this is to ground out the dark stuff. Also, what's this? Shungite is also very nice.
I bought myself a Shanghai Pendant the other day for all the channeling that I'm doing.
Right. Yeah. It's also for electronics. There's a lot of electronic pollutions, that really helps. Also,
you can stick them to the back of your phone and your computer, can't you? The Shungite, you can get them on stickers that you can stick them on things.
Yeah, I have several stickers, I mean, and everybody should watch, videos on cell phone radiation, how it affects cell mitosis, etc.
Okay.
You should know how it affects you, if you don't know yet. Then
I'm probably guilty of not knowing enough about that. I should probably do some research on that myself.
Yeah, it's about effectiveness, least amount of effort, for maximum benefit.
Sounds
so
good.
You don't want to put all your energy into nutrition and then just completely bum out on some other aspects. That's I like to have then when also have like anything pink, rose quartz, so your heart chakra is open and then it supports it. Yep. Personally, I like phenakite, it's really high vibration. And so so many times when I know it's going to be heavy duty, I'm wearing these kind of military or, hiker shirts, yep. Where I can put stuff into
With
the
all
breast
the
pockets.
pockets.
Yeah,
Brilliant.
ladies can load their bases.
Yeah. And I have lumps in my bra all the time. So there's always a crystal down there.
Yeah, it's just like the client goes like, and you say, I'm up here.
Yep. No, I tell clients frequently to stick a crystal in your bra, you'll be fine.
Yeah. And yeah, so so this kind of helps. Then of course, doing smudge, helps. But of course, you have to have your window open, so the things got out, rattles, rattles that break up, also the low chi, around the person, quite effective, try it on yourself, when you rattle, but okay, so this is what else? Yeah, so then, being grounded, and then, of course, really pumping up your force field. I mean, if you give massage or do any reading and you're not cheated up,
So getting your own energy up first before you go and anywhere near anyone else.
Well, I mean, you're not going to be a good channeler. You're not going to be a good psychic, first of all. Nope. You're just going to work off memory of cards or whatever, It's not going to be anything, special, Yep. So,
it makes your connection a lot stronger, doesn't it? The grounding your energy and then connecting versus just trying to go straight up there. It makes your psychic connection so much stronger.
Yeah, otherwise you're just a space case.
Yeah.
Space cadet, like, yeah.
Dizzy and headaches and confusion and not bringing through anything clear, pretty much.
Yeah, no power, also no power.
Yeah. And it'll drain you. It's going to drain you faster as well, your own energy, if you're not fully connected. And when I first started doing all of this, and before I was learning off you and other people, my energy would drain out so fast because I wasn't using all of the crystals and the protection and connecting myself properly. I was just getting so excited that I found a new toy and, oh my God, I can heal people and I can do this and I can get messages from things, and fucking hell, the amount of attachments and illnesses and burnouts, and I learned the hard way. So
yeah, so you have to, develop some stamina and really good habits. I mean, if you burned out after one session, that's hard to make a full-time living with this. So I'm doing this really intense session for 6 hours a day.
Yeah, it's crazy how many clients you see.
Yeah. I don't charge that much. I rather, work, with a lot of clients and help them over the hump. I mean,
your energy will have built up as well for people who are listening who have just started doing this work. Even with all the tapping in and everything, your body still needs to get used to working with those vibrations, those frequencies. And Wolfgang's obviously been doing it for 40 years and there's no way. I've been doing it for 2 years and there is no way I would be able to do 3 sessions a day like Wolfgang did, because I would be a raisin. I would, honestly, I mean, I can't even comprehend, but that's because I'm still rapidly shifting. My body needs to get used to all of this. My brain needs to get used to it. My energy needs to get used to it. So if you are at the beginning, and even if you're doing all the connecting and protection and everything, and you're still finding that you are getting a bit tired, just be patient with your ascension process, because I mean, Wolfgang's had for a long time to get to where he is.
Well, I mean, also you have to be in really good shape, if you want to do this, to have a high vibrational mind, you have to have a vibrational body. If you, full of toxins, it's going to keep you down. It's
lay off the binge drinking.
Yeah, whatever it is, whatever, whatever is your favorite poison, I mean, where you are, where everybody is out of balance, but you have to be in good shape so you can handle this much chi, this much life force. Yeah. If you're feeble, and somebody, if you have feeble health, and somebody's like dumping a lot of stuff, you're going to be sick for a couple of days.
Sometimes you're going to get heavy clients with a lot of shit.
yeah, heavily depressed, going through a divorce, losing their job at the same time. I mean, the
Yep.
blues songs that I'm hearing, it's just like I'm going from one trauma to another. I mean, if there wouldn't be that much love that comes through, this would be a horrible thing. But there's tremendous love there that also counteracts all this.
Yeah, which is really important.
Yeah, that's really important. And keeping the smiling up. As soon as you start frowning, you absorb a negative energy. No question about it. So you have to keep smiling. Otherwise the low vibration get to
I love
you.
that. One of my most favorite things that you taught me about the smiling brick, bringing, if the corners of your mouth is going up, your energy is going up. If the corners of your mouth is going down, your energy is going down. You can literally think of it as like a funnel or a fountain going one way or another, and it really does work. You can sit there, close your eyes, smile, see how you feel, frown, see how you feel. You can literally do that right now, and have a proven experience yourself that it will move your energy up and down. So I want to go back again. So as we were talking about like kind of the entities and everything, I want to go a little bit and talk a little bit about astral attachments, because again,
let me just stop you here. So I mean, I don't want to. Okay, now the people think this is good. No, the other thing is prayer of protection.
Yes. Yeah.
Super important. I mean, very, very important. Especially anytime you go into the public. Anytime you deal with a client, definitely prayer of protection and guidance. Absolutely. And afterwards, I would say, if you can take a shower, after a work day, definitely take a shower just for the energetic cleansing.
Okay. Yeah.
Possible, I would say full-time healers should also take a lot of baths, with Epsom salts. It's just a reset. I get cranky when I don't take a bath, twice a week.
Yeah, I have so many, especially when I'm having more clients, and especially when the energy is not even just with clients. When you're energy sensitive, you pick shit up from everywhere. At the moment, the energy, at the moment of recording this, the energy has been really heavy just in the atmosphere this week. I've been having Epsom salt baths every day. Like, come on, get it out.
Yep. Or I mean, also, I strongly advise, to start practicing something like Kundalini yoga and Qigong. I mean, Hatha yoga, is good for you, but it doesn't cut it that much. With Hatha yoga, when you detox your body and stretch out, you can run more chi. But then you got to really, work on moving chi. That's where Qigong or Kundalini yoga. And do it smiling. I mean, smile when you do this. Otherwise it's just power. That can get to your head. Turn it into the love. Otherwise, again, you're wasting your time, and just get proud and stuff like that. Big waste of time.
We don't want pride, we want smiles. So you mentioned about like calling out prayer protections. Could you give us an example of like a couple of protection prayers that you might say yourself, so that people know the sort of things that they can say when they're going out and about or doing sessions?
Yeah, I mean, this is, what we always do. So this is, I ask that everything that happens in this session is going to be for the highest good, in divine harmony, with the most benevolent outcomes. Because there's all those genie stories. You get 3 wishes, you mean the best, and everything backfires. Everything goes sideways. That's why highest good and divine harmony, most benevolent outcomes. Then we also that there are no inappropriate energies, are being attached or exchanged on cords, right?
Yep.
I don't want let's say sexually molested by somebody, or I don't want the other person feeling that they're sexually molested.
Yeah.
By somebody. This happens, with healers. People let them in, and then suddenly, weird things start to happen. Some kind of magician is starting to vampire you. So, this is very important. I had black magicians, trying to suck me. I mean, sure, yeah.
So bringing that on to like talking about things like trying to suck you and putting cords and whatever, Can you explain a little bit about that? So many people do talk about cords and do cord removal meditations and but without really knowing what they are or how they can come about and what they do. So what are energy cords and what do they do to people?
Mhm. Well, as far as I can tell by now, it's like there are two types of chords.
Okay.
Some of them are like, let's say, transcendental of a positive nature, and they look more, they're like connection from chakra to chakra between people.
Mm-hmm.
And those, they kind of look like ramen noodles.
Amazing.
you know and
Yeah.
then that's how most people describe it. And
Yep.
then there are others, through which the lower stuff kind of gets through, the anger and negative thoughts and lust and things like that. And that looks like, we all seen string cheese, mozzarella string cheese when it pulls,
Yeah.
but it's kind of dark and blackish, darkish, blackish, brownish, So this is like, okay, like it's, I'm in love with Lisa and, maybe we had something together, and so broke up, and there is still this connection. So whenever you have a strong emotional engagement with somebody, chords are being formed,
Yep.
especially through sexuality. That's quite hopefully a good high, but that creates a bonding, that is here an attachment. And then, you have a more telepathic contact with them, so your sadness of the breakup, goes to her. Suddenly she feels depressed, or whenever, somebody's pleasuring themselves, thinking of the other person, their life force is, getting drained.
Yeah.
So this, is a big problem for beautiful women, there are many sometimes ex-lovers, that just, that was the best thing that ever happened to them.
Just
They just
draining your sexual
keep
energy.
draining their sexual energy
Yeah.
thinking about them, and this could even be, the very distant admirers, and so, to be a real lady, you have to know, how to disconnect that, can't just, behave like a wallflower, not to get attention. Well, there are people that are doing this,
Yeah.
but it's not much fun.
No, no, definitely not. So if say for example, I was like did a meditation and felt that I had a cord between me and someone else, what would I then do? Is there something that people can do themselves to ask it to leave, to remove it?
Well, okay. So, initially, you have to ask your helpers, your spirit guides, maybe certain angels that you trust or other beings that you have a relationship with, depending on to your spiritual background.
Yeah.
And so, but then most of the time, there's a certain lesson behind, it's not like, hey, remove this and nothing has been learned.
Okay.
So they definitely want you to find out, from whom is it,
Yeah.
so ask, who is sucking me here, and how did this happen,
Mm-hmm.
why did this happen? So now cause and effect, so you can learn from it.
Yeah.
Once you have the aha moment, this is how this happened, I'm probably not going to repeat this here, then, yeah, they gladly probably remove this,
Okay.
and yeah, you make sure that you don't bullshit yourself, of course you have to do this when you're in higher consciousness, you know, um,
So
you try to see
get
it
your chi
or you
up
will feel
first.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why, use one of my meditations, to get you there, and
Yeah.
then you can either stop it and then take it over with you. Once you're in touch with your high self, you can take it from there.
Yeah, there's a lot of meditations on Wolfgang's channel, tools for ascension. I use them all the time. Ones for cord removal, attachment removal, all sorts of clearings, ghost clearings. They're really, really powerful. Sometimes you do need like a one-to-one session with a practitioner to get into the specifics of it and help you remove the really dark stuff. But just as like a general maintenance, they can be really, really good. Especially if you're not confident doing this stuff by yourself yet and you want to make sure that you're getting it all, that you're clearing it safely.
Yeah, I would say, it's the first time you have, somebody do it with you or for you,
Yeah.
then once you know how it feels like, people can do this for themselves. I had clients after 1 or 2 sessions, they liberated whole graveyards of ghosts.
Brilliant.
Heavy duty, just warrior woman, going right for it. I mean,
Yeah.
this happens, and then did I do everything right? Yeah. So
yeah, it's good to pass this knowledge on. So something else, so obviously we've talked about cords between people. I would love also to ask about cords. Don't always come from humans, do they? Cords and attachments.
Yeah, so cords also, the other most significant cords that I know about come from weapons, mystical weapons. So it's not just, you have been stabbed with a sword. No, the sword was enchanted, in a certain way. And so it becomes more like a harpoon. First of all, it deposits a lot of darkness or poisons into your body, and the darkness creates a portal if it has a certain amount, and also like a cord, to the originator. And so they can manipulate it and affect you through this.
And would these be like physical weapons in past lives, or like astral weapons from entities?
Well, that depends, I mean, there definitely have been physical weapons, enchanted like this, by humans. And, even with us gladiators, we used to do this, I mean, you used every trick in the book, and to make sure you survive and win the fight.
Yeah.
And I used to be a gladiator trainer in the past, and a gladiator.
Amazing. That doesn't surprise me at all.
A lot of trauma, I tell you. Everybody dies. Yeah, everybody dies.
Yeah.
So, so we were talking about mystical
astral
weapons,
weapons,
astral weapons, and then of course there are also astral devices, that you do not see. They work the same way, and they have been used many times. I mean, many curses even work like this. Many implants done by humans, but then also reptilians, alpha draconians. Let's say and this is of course very controversial, but in the battlefield of Kurukshetra, a lot of clients of mine have been involved in this. Most of them have been wounded, with mystical weapons and corded, and so the information I got, and this is news for everybody, this is completely news, and I know how controversial this is. That the alpha draconians, they didn't even want to win that battle. They just wanted, having high dimensional souls getting entangled in karma, killing, other high dimensional souls.
Well, you're going to get a lot more long-term darkness to feed off from that than just killing everyone, right?
Plus, they had everybody plugged, or they had plenty of plugged, and then they could contaminate them. It's like I bug your phone, or put spyware on your computer, and then I can mess with your life, and you don't even know what's going on. That was the cause and reason. And so, those clients, once we remove those, I mean, they just have been ailing with these things,
Yeah.
So very, very important. But this is high level stuff,
Yes.
This is, you don't start out with this, this is for the healers. And, part of my mission is to, wake up and rescue those trapped higher dimensional beings that are trapped.
Part of the stuff that that I had no clue about, and then I had that first session with you and came across what the Anunnaki did to me in a past life with giving me power and then cording me, kind of using me like a battery. And then months later, I did a channeling with the Arcturians, and they told me about the illegal lightworker experiment in ancient Egypt with the Anunnaki. And since then, I've had so many clients that have some sort of plug in their channel, or an implant that's blocking their energy, stealing their energy, or controlling them, like some sort of puppeteering. And I ask, okay, is this part of the Anunnaki lightworker experiment? And I get a yes. And I'm still, this stuff, you must come across it as well all the time. And it's stuff that happens, and it affects thousands of people, and specifically affects light workers, preventing psychics from opening their channel, preventing healers from accessing their healing abilities within this life. And again, it is far out there stuff, but it's stuff that people who especially feel the call in this lifetime to be a healer, to be a light worker, to be a psychic, to help, and they feel like they've got big blocks or massive fear around it, it's generally going to be because of attachments and past life trauma, which is all of the stuff that Wolfgang works with. It's a lot of the stuff that I work with that I've learned off Wolfgang as well. And it doesn't seem to be ever talked about on spiritual channels. You know, the more out there stuff, people, it becomes taboo. People, it seems so far out there that people don't want to talk about it in case people think they're fucking nuts. And a lot of people probably don't want to scare people. That's why I didn't talk about it openly for at least a year. When I was doing all of this work, I'd save it for the session because I didn't want to scare people away.
Yeah. So first of all, there's no reason to be scared because it has already happened.
Yeah, 100%.
It's not going to get worse. It's just
nothing's going to get you.
It's like you're finding out, your grandson has been skimming the money off you. I mean, it has happened. So you're not broke yet. Every life is going to go.
A good analogy. That's it. Something skimming your energy, just like your grandson skimming your purse.
Yeah. And so to give you an idea, so everybody knows this scene from Matrix, where he kind of becomes aware, this pop, with all those plugins into the back of his head and spine. Well, this is actually happening on the astral plane.
Yeah.
That many light body aspects, have been trapped like this, and they're being harvested for luz, for life force, and they don't like the love stuff, they hate that, they love the pain stuff, the fear, and to really get it going, they love that. It's a kick, it's like Coke for them. And so ultimately, my job is to, clear, those aspects from Atlantis, from the past worlds, those really powerful ones. When we came down here into this planet, seeding the race, being involved in this, as pharaohs or as, leaders of certain cultures. These are all experiments in a way. All have been manipulated, sabotage, humans being used as proxy. The Greek had it pretty much right, with this the Greek gods. Actually, I had clients, transported into the Olympus.
Wow.
And this is like, they're like, I'm seeing like columns and these huge beings, like gods.
You did one with me where I was with Aphrodite, wasn't I? I was in fully, in the columns and everything, and you were asking me if I worked.
But they were the gods. This wasn't just one darshan. This were like a whole, and they're like, what is he doing here? It's not supposed to be here. And then he was back. So
that's hilarious.
So these beings exist, and they're definitely, bickering with each other. Higher tech and higher consciousness doesn't mean, there is no competition and fighting and duality and stuff like this.
Yeah.
And they're using humans as proxies. Definitely this is still going on. They're just not appearing in physical form right now.
Yep, 100%. I mean, look at all the stuff that's going on in the world right now. On the astral plane, the big fight between dark and light, and the vibrational war going on, and then look at what's going on in our everyday reality, the division, the infighting, the mass fear by the media, all of these things out there that are literally designed to keep us in a low vibration. Like, that's got to come from somewhere, right?
Yeah, of course. This is the big picture, vibrational warfare.
Yeah.
Vibrational warfare. High vibration versus low vibration. The higher your vibration is, the more positive is your reality. It's like a bubble you carry around you. The reality, it's like a bubble. Anything that gets pulled into the bubble gets into the higher vibration. So if you're powerful enough, the birds start reacting differently. They're reacting. They're reacting on a higher dimensional consciousness.
Yep.
I mean, I have this. I see this so many times when I work with clients. When I get into the love vibration, the birds are on, and I go like, they get really sweet, and this can be like, 50 yards away, in
Like a Disney
Australia.
movie.
Yeah, right. This is like, kind of tacky sometimes, but it's, um,
I
you
love
know,
it. I love it. So would you agree that on the bigger picture stuff, I mean, people who are listening who are familiar with the channeling and stuff of doing the working with the Arcturians and the Lemurians, they talk a lot about the lightening, the process of literally lightening up the world, like increasing the vibrations. Would you agree that the most important thing that anyone can do, regardless of whether you're a healer, psychic, whatever, is keep your own energy bright, is look after yourself, is keep your own energy in a love vibration?
yeah, I mean, so you have to confront the darkness, that is in there. I mean, you have to look, for the rats under the carpet. Ignoring the rats under the carpet is not a good idea.
No, this is very true.
Right? So you got to work, if you have been abused, do forgiveness work or whatever, check on your progress, check with the pendulum, how clear you have become. The Dianetics, Scientology is pretty correct in that point, that you have to clear all your trauma.
Yeah.
I mean, I agree with this.
Mm-hmm.
And so, this is, check with the pendulum, see where you have most of your trauma, I would say. The more you dump your trauma, the more you have space, for, your higher energies.
The
Yeah.
Lemurian said, I think it was yesterday, I was doing some channeled writing, a little quote that was just brilliant, which was, the more dark you move through, the more light you move to. It finished off their energy update for the month. I was like, I need to get that on a t-shirt. But it is true. The more you can go through dark nights of the soul, working through all your shadow work, clearing through all your past trauma, and it feels like shit. It's not fun. There's a lot of crying and a lot of nasty feelings, but then when you come out the other side, you do feel brighter than you've ever been. You can feel that things have lifted, you can feel that things are getting better, ready to go back down and clear your next layer.
Okay, so now let's make this, many light workers are getting very abstract about this, yeah, we got to, confront the dark side. Well, how the hell is this going to look like? You're going to
Yes.
be bar diving, or, dropping roofies at the Greyhound bus station, so how are you going to confront,
I love it.
your dark
Yeah,
side?
let's have some how-to nitty-gritty.
So let's say, I mean, for instance, first thing is to check in with your inner child, see how those little, kids got traumatized, and run so much love and dialogue with them, maybe with advice of high self, till they're fine. Blow up their crown chakra, make sure they're grounded, and then they stay like this, then do the same thing with your inner teen, if the inner teen got traumatized, in the schoolyard or got rejected, and in amorous thing, they're just talking through it, till they're all smiley and processed.
And you do all this in meditation, right? So getting your chi up first, guiding yourself in, and then going to kind of communicate with these aspects of yourself.
Yeah, so I have videos in it. I do it with my clients. I make sure, they learn how to, communicate in thought as well as with love, with their inner child and high self. This is generally the first session, unless they're really screwed up. Heart opening, and learning how to do it, is, basic bread and butter. Without that, I'm not going to take anybody any deeper. Love is that morphine, otherwise you cannot go into the underworld. This is the underworld, confronting this. And so once, your inner child and your inner teen, are okay, then maybe, depending how old you are, work the other places too. Maybe the divorce, or when your mom died, wherever. And then, of course, there is past life trauma. So for past life trauma, well, some people have visions of this, and, there are meditations for this, but I would suggest, to take a session first. Once you have been under the guidance of somebody else, you just let go, they guide you, you have very high chances of succeeding.
It's a lot easier. Even if you are, I mean, I'm highly psychic, and I'm easy drop into past lives, but it is so, I much prefer having like Wolfgang or any of the other practitioners I see, someone holding space, someone helping me with energy and guiding me through. It's a lot more effective, and I'm able to go a lot deeper and clear the really nasty shit that I don't want to look at, rather than doing it myself. So even if you're highly psychic, even if you've been doing this stuff for ages, it can still be really important to just have someone else holding that space and guiding you to help you get to the deeper layers.
Yeah, I mean, for instance, let's say a person, lacks power. Everything kind of goes sideways. Has great idea, nothing manifests. So let's say we asked high self, well, where does this lack of power coming from? Show us the most important one. Okay, so then, let's go to this lifetime, was this male, female, let's say it was a female incarnation, was this yourself or somebody else? Well, it was yourself, so then what happened, was there premature death? Yes or no? Well, premature, so what happened? Was it violent? Yep. Was it stabbing, choking? Well, stabby. And well, was it sacrificed? Yeah. For whose benefit? We find out.
Yeah.
And then, liberate this thing, call in divine angels and whatever, get the ones punished, get them liberated, everybody else that they also took as hostage, whatever, get them liberated.
It's a whole big, it's a process, man, this work. It's a
Yeah, I mean, I'm not doing only for my client. When I, find a nest, I take the whole nest out.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the service I do, and that I get a lot of support, from the higher ups,
That's always
for
a
that.
question I'm scared to ask on a day that if a day that I'm feeling low energy and I'm having a client and something comes up and I'm like, shit, how many people are affected? And you get like 2,000. And I'm like, okay, just give me 5 minutes. I'm going to have to go off script. Yeah, because you can't, it's important that you do this work. They're doing a lot of work for the collective. And of course, if it's happened to someone in front of you, it might have been part of a larger thing. It might have happened to loads of people all at once. And it's great if you can go in and clear that with the help of your spirit guides and higher beings, not just yourself.
Yeah, I'm not the one, doing all the nitty-gritty work. I pass this on to the Arcturians. They do a really great job. I haven't had any complaints so far. They're very, very expert. And I mean, sometimes, let's say when I find out, kings or generals, military people or even scientists, sometimes thousands and thousands of people, have been, affected by this and they're still stuck.
Yeah.
I have had sometimes whole races get wiped out. I mean, so that is huge.
Crazy.
And I mean, this is nothing, you don't want to do personally. It's just like, I'm a contractor. Well, please, take care of this,
Yeah.
and they're handling, so I'm just in between the contractor.
Yeah. Just conducting people. Please, I've found this big, deep, dark shit going on over here. So I'm going to call in the light. And if you could just deal with that, that would be fantastic. And it's done with
crew
lots of
here.
smiles.
Yep.
Yep. I love it.
Remember heavenly vacuum cleaners,
having them going. Yep. Having them going from everywhere. So what I would like to ask you, just as a last question to finish off with, we've obviously talked a lot about getting help from spirit guides, getting help from higher dimensionals. There's probably a lot of people who are wanting to connect with their spirit guides who perhaps don't know how. And also something that I think is, again, super important and not fucking talked about enough is how you qualify when something contacts you that it is a higher dimensional or someone, a spirit guide, and not a dark entity fucking with you or trying to interfere and make you think bad things, do bad things. So I know you do a lot of work with that sort of stuff. So is there some advice we can give to people on that?
Well, I mean, first of all, when you, try to get in touch with your high self, I would definitely use the formal meditation, like a video first, I mean, I have those. So you have a framework, the protection is set up on that.
Yeah.
I mean, otherwise, So again, of course, divine harmony, highest good, divine harmony, most benevolent outcomes, protection from, service to self beings, the dark hearts, so to say.
Mm-hmm.
And so we talked about this already, and so, then you have pretty much put up a no trespassing sign.
I love that.
And they're going to try to trespass, some of them,
Yeah.
And so, but, then, you can get in touch with them, through your spirit guides opening your crown chakra. You have to be grounded first and open your crown chakra. If your crown chakra is not open,
not so much.
You're not attached, you're not in the higher dimensions, these are dimensional gates, and but you gotta also be, have your heart chakra open and smile, because they better be of love, and if you're not with love and vibration, it's not going to work. This is going to be all
no good.
Yeah, this is a momental speculation than anything.
Yeah.
And so then, let's say you invite your high self. Let's say I always start with the female high self. Women are kind of nicer, more polite. So one really safe way is to just put imagine a flame of violet light around them, or a column of violet light.
Yeah.
If they don't like that,
I've had done some meditations before where I've done this, again, learned it off you, and put some violet light down, and whatever I'm looking at has started squirming, looking like they are in pain, and I'm like, get the fuck, please clear that, Archangel Michael, get that out of the way. But yeah, it happens. and I do all the protection, and so I've called in everything first, and still sometimes they get through, so it's good to do layers.
Yeah, so that works very well.
Yeah.
Then well, I had one case. The dragon came in, and dragon generally doesn't come in as high self. They're either radiant light,
as the high self.
Yeah, they're either luminous, beings, just luminous, or like, gods and goddesses, like, beautiful,
love
beautiful,
dragons.
radiant, but dragon, no, so, so, so I thought, well, let's work this. So I asked, is there something, that we can do for you? Is there something that we can offer you? As an offering, and yeah, it likes meat. Like, she like to have, raw meat or blood. Yes. And so, no, I don't think you're a high self.
Fuck. Oh my God. I'd be like,
So we just put the violet light, and the bum buggered off,
Yeah.
So
also,
another.
the something that you've said again before, that if it's something negative, they don't like love, they don't like the vibration of love, so just
they hate it. Yeah,
blasting out love from your chest and smiling and stuff, it's going to scare off a lot of stuff anyway.
It's like, if you have somebody that's into heavy metal and you play Mozart to him all day. This is
great analogy. I love that.
That messes them up.
Yeah.
Now, the other thing, that I like to do is, like, I mean, I kind of nowadays kind of feel by the vibe, whether the vibe is off, and many like the vibe is kind of off, it's not right. But, another kind of nice way is, you start projecting love on this, and even if they're gods or goddesses, you project love onto them.
Mm-hmm.
And then there is a point, or mountains or trees, and there is a point, where love comes back, when an echo of love comes back.
Okay.
And it better be, love, and, nice, you can hopefully judge for yourself. And when that comes, I take this as an invitation, of benevolent, and we are open.
Yeah.
And to then I just have them run love, just pull in the love into the heart and then send love back and forth, so there is, a they're synergized.
Yeah, makes you feel real good as well. those of you who haven't had these experiences before,
Oh
especially those
boy.
of you who have ever taken ecstasy, uh, like it does it. I mean, the reason I got attuned for Reiki 6 years ago, one of the reasons I was like, that shit makes me feel like I'm high. I want to be able to do that. Literally, that actually one of my reasons. I wasn't very spiritual at all. I didn't consider myself spiritual when I got attuned for Reiki, and I literally was like, that shit makes me feel so good. I want to be able to do it to myself.
Well, this was actually one of my first drug experiences. Like, I'm like, I want to feel always like this,
Mm-hmm.
And so I just had to put the work into that,
Yeah.
to get there. I got the teaser first, and then you have to work for it.
Yeah, you do. Keeping the energy up. Amazing. Well, I think I've pretty much worked through most of my points that I wanted to ask Dave. I think we've got through a lot of information. Hopefully people listening to this are going to get a lot from it. Before we finish up, can I please just ask you to let everyone know where we can find you and how we can get in touch with you? So anyone wanting sessions, and also your YouTube channel and anything else that you want to tell people about.
Okay, so you can get in touch with me, my videos. Just type in YouTube Tools for Ascension by Wolfgang. And I have about 150 videos out there now, and then just ask it to be guided to the one that's most benevolent for you. Then, and then your eyes probably will be guided to this,
Yep.
That's one way. If you want a session with me, send me an email. So email addresses are like in the, below.
I'll put it on the end of this. Those of you watching on YouTube,
Yeah.
also, I'll put his email on the end of this, and all of his links will be in the description box below also.
Right, in the credits. If you're smart, you should be able to find
it. Yeah. Yeah.
If you're too lazy, just write in the comments, and we will find you and track you down.
Track you down and give you light and love. Yeah.
Your life will never be the same again.
Oh my God, amazing. This is a great finish to the show here. We will track you down and forcibly give you light and love. Amazing. Well, Wolfgang, thank you so much for coming on. We've been trying to set up this podcast, I think since last year, actually, since I actually stopped doing the podcast and relaunched it. So something obviously didn't want it getting out there, or we'll just call it divine timing. And accept that maybe more people are ready to hear this stuff. So thank you so much for coming on. And everyone who is listening, I'm going to be releasing these podcasts every 2 weeks now. So the last podcast, if you didn't listen to it, we went over drugs and addiction. And the next one is going to be all about light language, light codes, channeling ETs. So make sure you check that out.